Taylor Hill looking for her first strikeout of the ball game. Kayla Dunn, the pitcher for for Georgetown, the junior from Holly Springs, North Carolina. 3.38 ERA this year. She's making her 9th start of the year. She's also appeared out of the bullpen 7 times. Has struggled with command a bit, 42 walks, but 58 strikeouts, make that now number 59 against Hill. The first pitch is in there for a strike to Kelsey Carr, and it's 0-1. Last time out for Dunn was in that 5-4 loss against the Blue Demons last Sunday. Dunn through the first 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 5 total runs, so 2 of those runs unearned. That one's popped up in the air. Right side to the infield. Rebin will catch it, and there's 2 away. Dunn did walk 3, but struck out 6 in that loss to the Blue Demons. And Olivia Gilbert will step up to the plate next. A good start for Dunn. Behind her, the defense for Georgetown. Marciano, Turner, Park from left to right in the outfield. Campos and Wincher, the corner of the infields at third and first. And the middle of the infield at short, Emily Strittmatter. And at second, Brooke Rebin. First offering to Olivia Gilbert is on the outside edge. 0-1 to the first baseman for Seton Hall, hitting .275 this year. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs for the junior out of Johnston, Rhode Island. Riding an 8-game hitting streak is Gilbert. But she's behind in the count here, 0-2. That 8-game hitting streak started off with a monster day against North Dakota. Went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs that day. Against the North Dakota program that has really been struggling over the past handful of seasons in the Summit League. Start number 78 in a row for Gilbert, but she's behind 0-2. Riser and Gilbert won't chase. Ball and 2 strikes for Gilbert. Started all 60 games last year. Has started all 18 games so far this year for Seton Hall, which they are 6-11, the Pirates. 1-2 offering. Didn't go after the ball downstairs either. It's 2-2. It is a up and down start to how difficult the season is to start the schedule for Seton Hall in conference play. Mentioned that they started off their campaign with 3 games on the road against the other Big East tournament finalists in Villanova, who were picked to yet again win the Big East this year. The 2-2 foul back to the screen. But then they take on Georgetown on the road. Hoyas picked to finish second to last, 8th out of the 9 teams in the Big East preseason poll. And then next weekend they'll be at home. The Pirates will open up their home campaign against Creighton, who was picked to finish 6th out of the 9 teams in the conference. 2-2 from Dunn. Hoyas wanted it, didn't get it. A couple of Georgetown players start to jog off of the field, thinking that one had caught the outside edge. Our home plate umpire today disagrees. And so the count runs full to Gilbert. Payoff pitch from Dunn. Right back to the screen. Really good battle here between Gilbert and Dunn. It's Angie Churchill in her 3rd season at the helm for Seton Hall, trying to kickstart a 2-out rally with her team. Churchill, previously the head coach at the University of Hartford, and Wagner before that. Was an assistant at Buffalo and Ohio. 3-2. That one's in there for strike number 3. 2 looking strikeouts for Kayla Dunn. Highlight a 1-2-3 top half of the first. As Georgetown goes to the bats for the first time, our score in D.C. at Seton Hall 0. Hoyas coming to bat next when we return to D.C. Back to Nats Academy as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Ben Curtis here with you on this Friday afternoon as Georgetown will send Brooke Rebin to bat. Emily Strittmatter and Naya Campos, the top third in the order for Georgetown. Cameron Wincher, Samantha Miller, and Gabby Park, the middle third. Kayla Dunn, who's already pitched a 1-2-3 top half of the first. Holly Pardini and Claire Turner, the bottom third of the Georgetown order against Kelsey Carr, who fires in a first pitch strike that Rebin waves at. Last year's Big East Pitcher of the Year is in the circle for Seton Hall. Unanimous first-team All-Big East nominee last year, was first-team All-Region as well. And the 0-1 is fouled back, and it's 0-2. Last season, led the Big East in RBIs, led the Big East in ERA amongst all conference games. One of the top two-way players in the entire region. And she's ahead of Rebin, 0-2. Rebin's hitting .282 this year, 1 home run, 7 RBIs. 4 stolen bases as well this year for Rebin, who is one of the main threats to run for Georgetown. It's a Hoyas team that will run way more than Seton Hall. 20 stolen bases for Georgetown so far this year. Seton Hall has just 5. 1-2 just off the outside edge. Good eye from Rebin to make it 2-2. Carr's numbers this year don't really pop the same way they did a season ago. ERA sitting even at 6. This is start number 8 on the season for Carr. And Rebin lifts this one down the left field line. Brennan giving chase. She's going to run out of real estate. But still a really solid start to the season for Carr. So already got 6 complete games under her belt already this season. Last year the numbers were just simply off the charts, though, which allowed her to get all those accolades. 2-2 rises up high and out of the zone. Those 2023 stats for Carr, 2.51 ERA in over 125 innings. And then on the other side of the ball, she hit .328 with 50 RBIs. 3-2. Back to the screen, we'll do it one more time. Rest of the defense for Seton Hall, Brennan, Kai, and Hill from left to right in the outfield. Blevins, who's the flex for the Pirates. Perez, Hobbs, and Gilbert from third to first, moving across the infield. And Aaron Howard is back behind the plate, catching Carr. Another 3-2 to Rebin. That's lifted in the air down the third base side again. Blevins is going to watch it go out of play. So a really good start to the ball game for Rebin, just to see as many different pitches as possible out of the hand of Carr. Rebin, the freshman from Miami, Florida, trying to kickstart a offense for Georgetown. That one's bounced out towards the shortstop, Perez. Long throw from in the hole is just enough to beat Rebin. And there's one gone. It's a really good throw by Perez, who had a lot of ground to cover in a short amount of time with the way that the second baseman runs. But Strittmatter will step up to the plate next. Another freshman from Scottsdale, Arizona. This very much a rebuilding, retooling year for Pat Conlon in her 17th season at the helm of the Hoyas. First offering is laced out towards left field. It is hooking foul. And it is over onto Ely Place. 0-1, but a loud strike to Strittmatter, who does not have a home run yet this year. .226 average, just 4 RBIs. But a very young lineup, as I was saying, for Georgetown. Still trying to figure out life without Cameron Kondo, who last year was second in the Big East in home runs with 13, 9th in the conference in RBIs, had a .329 hitting percentage, and OPS that was in the top 6 in the Big East as well. And then just 3 conference games in, still very much trying to figure out how to deal without one of their most productive offensive players in history. This one's popped over towards the third base side. Blevins will have room this time. And there's 2 away for Georgetown. Third consecutive underclassman to bat for Georgetown is Naya Campos, the sophomore from Tucson, Arizona. Had an 0 for 3 day last Sunday against the Blue Demons. That broke a 4-game hitting streak. She had 7 RBIs over the course of those 4 games. Really starting to come into her own at the plate. .339 average. And 19 RBIs largely contributed by 5 home runs. The main power threat for Georgetown at the plate is Campos. 1-0. That hit something, either Campos' knob of the bat or her. It looked like it was the knob of her bat, so it's going to be a 1-1 count. Or at least it should be. It is a 1-1 count. Briefly showed 2-0 on the scoreboard here at Nats Academy, but it is 1-1 to the third baseman. Carr brings it home. It's laced out towards right field. It is hooking foul, though, and it is going to be foul. And into the grassy area over there. It had plenty of distance. That's the second time already that a Georgetown batter has been early on a Carr off-speed pitch. And really driven it a long way, but just foul. Georgetown trying to respond from that 5-4 loss against DePaul, in which they out-hit the Blue Demons. They could not capitalize on 4 DePaul errors over the course of that game. DePaul scored 2 in the 5th, 1 more in the 6th for a comeback victory. Win the series. 1-2. Fastball off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Georgetown has already, so far this season, in their 23 games, played 7 one-run games. They are 3-4 in those one-run contests. Seton Hall's only played 4 one-run games this year. They're 1-3. 2-2 runs high and tight, and the count is full. Cameron Wincher awaiting on deck. Samantha Miller after her if the inning should continue. Kelsey Carr trying to answer Kayla Dunn's 1-2-3 inning with one of her own here in the bottom part of the first. Payoff to Campos. Out towards the second baseman, Hobbs, who lunges after and is able to catch it on the fly. And Carr does answer the 1-2-3 inning with one of her own in the bottom half of the first. To the second inning we go, still scoreless, still looking for the game's first base runner when we return to Nats Academy. Top 2 here between Georgetown and Seton Hall. 3 up and 3 down for each the Pirates and the Hoyas in the first innings. Now it's the middle third of the Seton Hall order looking to do some damage against Kayla Dunn. It'll be Katie Brennan to start things off. 286 average for the freshman in her first season. Has 10 RBIs and 1 home run. That came in the most recent game for Seton Hall against Villanova on Sunday on the main line. Takes the first pitch outside. It's 1-0 at the time. That gave Seton Hall a 3-0 lead in the first inning. Pirates led against the Wildcats in that one 3-1 after 1, 4-1 after 4. But Villanova scored 3 each in the 5th and the 6th. They end up winning the game 7-4. Cats could have had a lot more. They left 11 runners on in that game as well. 1-1 count now to Brennan. It was the second multi-RBI game of her career when she had those 3 runs driven in for that 1 long ball against the Wildcats. Both of her career multi-RBI games have come in the last 7 games, so really starting to find her own at the plate as she settles into her freshman year. She laces that one foul and back over towards the baseball field. It's 1-2. Area Softball Player of the Year as a senior coming out of high school, not too far from Villanova, at Yardley, Pennsylvania, Conwell-Egan Catholic High School. Behind the count here, 1-2, laid off the off speed, and it's 2-2. Last year, Dunn against Seton Hall appeared in a 4-3 loss to the Pirates on March the 18th of 2023. Through 4 innings, gave up 3 runs on 8 hits. Struck out 2, walked 1. And she's in danger of walking the first batter of the game here as she runs the count full. Pirates have won 6 of the last 8 matchups, speaking of previous matchups between these two. Georgetown salvaged the final game of the 3-game set last year. Seton Hall took 2 of 3. The 3-2 is into left center field. It'll get down in front of Turner for a base hit. And the first knock of the day for Seton Hall comes off the bat of Katie Brennan. A good start for the Seton Hall bats in the second, and that'll send Caroline Hobbs up to the plate next. Good piece of 2-strike hitting as well for Brennan to take it the other way. Here's Hobbs, sophomore out of Long Island, went just 1 for 8 last weekend at Villanova with a walk. But leads the team in batting average with a .356 mark. 7 RBIs on the campaign as well. The first pitch is in there for a strike. Keep an eye on Brennan over at first. Took a big lead after Dunn delivered the pitch. But as we've already said, Georgetown will not have to worry as much about the runners because it's not a huge part of Seton Hall's offense. One in there, actually off the inside edge for a ball, and it's 1-1 to Hobbs. Started the season on a 3-game hit streak, had hits in 5 of her first 6 games, has cooled off ever so slightly. She pops this one in the air to left field. That's Marciano's territory, and she tracks it down for the first out of the second inning. A good response from Dunn after the leadoff base hit to get a fly out for the first out of the second. And Allen will step up to the plate next. That's Leela Allen, the designated player with a .208 average this season, senior out of Phoenix, Arizona. Who's really been struggling at the plate as of late, and at .208 mark, not really indicative over the course of her entire season. She started out red hot, hits in 4 of her first 5 games. But Allen is 0 for her last 13 over her last 4 contests. She would love to chance to break out of this cold snap. Was one of the heroes in that Villanova win last season to win the Big East Conference tournament. Went 2 for 4 with a double that day. Takes that one on the outside edge for a strike, and it's a ball and a strike. .297 average a season ago for Allen. Over 46 starts, 19 RBIs. Did not have a home run. It's not a Seton Hall team that will use the long ball a ton either. That one skips to home plate. Pardini is able to knock it down, throw down to second, not in time, and Brennan will advance. We'll see if it's on a stolen base or just on a wild pitch, but regardless, the first runner is in scoring position for either team today, and it's Brennan at second. After winning that game against Villanova to win the Big East tournament, by the way, Seton Hall went to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2005. Lost both games they played in the Austin Regional. That one found right back to the screen, and it's 2-2. Fell to number 13, Texas, who was the regional host, of course, in Austin. And then lost a 1-run game to Texas State, and we're out of the double elimination tournament. Longhorns won that regional and then lost in the super regionals to a really good Tennessee team. 2-2 is off the plate, and the count runs full. First base is open, but you doubt that Dunn will want to lose Allen here and set up a situation with 2 runners on. And not for the first time today, the Pirates have been able to work the count full against Dunn. 3-2. Just off the outside edge. Hoyas wanted that call, didn't get it either. And so there is 2 on and just 1 out for Aaron Howard. 5 RBIs on the season for Howard, but an opportunity for a couple more. But that Big East Championship win for Seton Hall was really the culmination of what Angie Churchill's been able to do time and time again. Just the second season that year was for Churchill, now into year number 3. She's really done a great job of turning around a number of different programs as Howard fouls one back, and it's 0-1. She was the head coach of Hartford. She came in, inherited a program that in the previous 4 seasons had won 21 games combined. Won 20 games with the Hawks in her second season of play, just alone that second season. Over 30 wins in her first 2 years with that program. 1-1 off the inside edge. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Team got to the America East Conference Tournament in her second season up in Connecticut. And for the Pirates team that hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in nearly 2 decades, it was a huge turnaround effort, as Rebens able to track this one down. Infield fly was in effect. And there's 2 away now for Andrea Perez. Opportunity for momentum to swing either way here with this Perez at bat. Base hit would likely score the runner from second, Brennan. She'll be running on contact with 2 outs. That Dunn's able to retire the Seton Hall shortstop, rather. A little bit of momentum for Dunn and the Hoyas to get out of the first jam of the ball game. Point of the glove from Pardini, as if to say that's exactly where he wanted the spot. And neither team so far has been able to get the strike call on what is the arm side for the righty pitchers. That's inside to the righty hitters, outside to the lefty hitters. So they'll go to the other side of the plate, which is open for business, and it's 1-1. Perez, a sophomore from Corona, California, Santiago High School. Hitting .162 this year with 3 RBIs. You know, she would love an RBI here. Only has 1 since February the 24th. Run production is dried up for the sophomore shortstop. It's already showed off the defense back in the first inning in the first batter of Georgetown's offensive day. That really strong throw from deep in the hole at shortstop. 24 RBIs, though, a season ago, can produce runs. This is this 2-1 offering. It is in there for a called strike 2. Again, that outside part of the plate to the righty hitters seems to be good for strikes for Dunn and on the other side of things for Carr. 2-2. Did she hold up her swing? No, she did not. It's the 3rd strikeout of the day for Dunn. It's the biggest so far this afternoon, and she escapes a 2-on, 1-out jam. Hoya's looking to turn that into a little bit of offense when we return. Middle third of the order due up for Georgetown as they look to try to solve Kelsey Carr, who sat them down in order 1, 2, 3 in the bottom half of the first inning. It'll be Cameron Wincher who will try to do just that to start things off for the Hoyas in the second. Righty versus righty matchup, and it starts off with a pop-up to the infield. Perez is camped under it, and there's quickly 1 away. Each of the last 3 outs for Carr have all been recorded in the air after the Perez ground outs to start things off in the bottom half of the first. So now here's Miller. 108 average this year for the designated player. 2 home runs, though, and 6 RBIs. And the first offering from last year's Big East Pitcher of the Year is just off the plate on the inside edge. And it's 1-0 to the senior out of Tampa, Florida, an Academy of the Holy Names. Miller really in a skid as of late, 0 for her last 12 with 5 strikeouts. Looking for her first hit since February the 24th against UT Martin. Shakes that one for a strike. As I said, can unleash the power, though. Had home runs in back-to-back games on February the 16th and 17th against IUPUI. Those games were held in Greenville, South Carolina. Both of these teams relatively northern, so they both started their season away from home. In case we or tuning in a little bit tardy, this is the Georgetown home opener. Seton Hall has yet to play a game at home so far yet this season. That one just off the plate. Pirates will open up their home schedule on Tuesday with a doubleheader against in-state rival Ryder, and then they're home for their first conference game against Creighton. Georgetown started off the season down in Florida, in Fort Myers, taking on Louisville, Florida Gulf Coast, who are the hosts that weekend, Boston College, and then Louisville again. Hoyas lost all 4 of those games to open up the season before salvaging the final game of the Fort Myers trip in a win against LIU. That kicked off a long winning streak of 6 games for the Hoyas, as this one popped up into foul territory, and it will get out of play, and the count stays full of Miller. Pirates opened up the season on the other side of the state of Florida in Boca Raton. That was a tournament hosted by FAU. Pirates faced some really stiff competition. They also saw the Louisville Cardinals. 3-2 is on the inside edge for strike 3. They have to throw down to first base to complete the strikeout, and they do, and Miller is down on strikes. So 2 down for Park. In that Joan Joyce Classic down there in Boca Raton, season opening game against Michigan, then went against Louisville. That was a run rule. Got a win against Maine, then lost to the hosts Florida Atlantic in a run rule as well. And then we're going to play Michigan a second time, but that got canceled. The first offering to Gabby Park is in there for a strike. And the Pirates crisscrossed the country over to Tempe, Arizona, where Arizona State was hosting the Sun Devil Classic. Lost to Texas State, who they saw in the Austin Regional last year, another 1-run game. Just could not figure out a way to beat Texas State. Lost to Arizona State 4-2, and picked up a couple of wins towards the back half of that Classic, then went right back to Miami. So it's been a lot of travel for the Pirates. Going to Boca Raton, home of FAU, then over to Arizona State, then back to Miami, where FIU was having a competition. And then finally up to Villanova to start their season. So can really wear down on a team that's from the Northeast, or just the North in general, where it's too cold to play softball in February, to have to crisscross the country as much as the Pirates have. Count moves to 2-2. And face some really stiff competition at that. Seton Hall has really tested themselves. They're 6-11 on the season, 0-3 in conference play. Doesn't really tell the whole story. The 2-2 back to the backstop. When you play a couple of teams in other Power 5 conferences, and then you open up the season with the team you faced in the conference championship, the team that's you denied a three-peat in the conference championship, a team that's yet again picked to finish first. Requires just a little bit more explanation as to why you're 0-3. 2-2 is on the outside edge, strike 3. Kelsey Carr with back-to-back strikeouts that were nearly identical parts of the plate. First 2 strikeouts of the day for Kelsey Carr, and she goes 6 up, 6 down through the first 2 innings of the Georgetown order. We are on our way back to the third, still looking for the game's first run. (9-1-2) due up for Seton Hall as we get you set for the third inning of play. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 2 runners left on for Seton Hall. Georgetown has been 6 up, 6 down, still looking for their game's first base runner against last year's Big East Pitcher of the Year in small sample size for Kai. She's 7 of 19 at the plate. Junior out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. First offering from Kayla Dunn, who's back out there for her third inning of work, is off the plate, off the inside corner. Talking about how much Seton Hall in that last inning had to crisscross the country. It's been a little bit more regionalized for Georgetown, how they've set up their non-conference schedule. They also started down in Fort Myers. Then have kind of spent the rest of that non-conference slate in the general southeastern part of the U.S. They played 5 games in Greenville, South Carolina, 5 more games in Chattanooga, Tennessee, hosted by UT Chattanooga. As this ball is lifted in the air into center field, actually out towards the shortstop strip matter, as the wind knocked it down, and there's one away here in the third. And then they just went across the state of Tennessee from Chattanooga to Nashville for a couple of games hosted by Lipscomb. I'm going to play Boston College here a week or two ago at home. That got canceled. They were going to play UMass Lowell here at home. That got canceled. And then they were off to the Windy City to play DePaul to start off conference play. And now they open up their 2024 home slate. First offering to Taylor Hill as the lineup card flips around, and it's 1-0. Georgetown 3-4 in true road games, 7-9 in neutral site games so far this year, but looking to get on the board and above 500 at home here in 2024. We're just above 500 at home last year. They were 8-7, the Hoyas were, as the count moves to 3-0 on Hill. But really struggled in true road games, 5-14 in true road games and 3-12 in neutral site games. Never really got off the ground after the Hoyas lost each of their first 3 last year. Offering to the right fielder, Hill is in there for a strike. Hill struck out, looking back in the first one of 3 strikeout victims the first time through the order for Kayla Dunn. And the 3 strikeouts to just the 1 walk the first time through the order is a really promising ratio for the Georgetown pitcher. That ball in there on the outside edge as well. Second time through the order, always a little more difficult than the first time, especially in the first game of a 3-game set. Not unlikely that the Pirates will get a couple of different looks at Dunn in this weekend. The 2-2 riser runs high and the count's full. But Hill looking to extend her 3-game hitting streak. Had a double and a home run in those 3 games against Villanova last weekend. Another 3-2 count is laced out towards left field. That will get down in front of Marciano for a base hit. Second knock of the day for Seton Hall. Both of them coming the other way off of lefty bats to the left side of the field. And so that will bring up Carr with 1 on and 1 out. Not for the first time today, though. We've said that Dunn has worked herself into 3-2 counts, has gone deep into a lot of different at-bats already today. The first offering to Carr with an opportunity to help herself. Takes one just off the plate, and it's 1-0. The pitchers and the catchers will have the best idea of where the strike zone is on any given day. And Carr with a good eye there to take the first pitch just off the plate. Runner bluffs, does not go, and it's 1-1. Carr last year hitting .328. Her slugging percentage was second in the Big East. Had 50 runs driven in, became just the 3rd Pirate ever to drive in 50 runs in a single season. The count moves to 1-2. A senior whose name is going to be littered all up and down the Seton Hall record books when it's all said and done for her in North Jersey. Trying to add to that here with this 1-2 count. Bounces it foul and will stay right there at 1-2. The career numbers aren't off the chart for Carr because she lost out on an entire season. She missed all of 2022 because of shoulder surgery, but made up for that in a big-time way in 2023. Popped out to the second baseman back in her first at-bat. Behind the count here, 1-2, and she strikes out looking. Fourth strikeout of the day for Kayla Dunn. Blew the fastball right past her. And there's 2 gone here in the top half of the third. It's worth noting with how much Dunn has been able to get the hitters off balance and not what they would expect, that of her 4 strikeouts so far today, 3 of them have been looking, including one here to this batter, Olivia Gilbert, back in the first inning to end the frame. This one back over towards the Georgetown dugout, and it's 0-1. Last year against the Hoyas, Gilbert had an unusual line. She went 2 for 9 in the course of those 3 games, but those 2 were both solo home runs. The 0-1 runs upstairs. It's 1-1. So most of the time the Hoyas were able to solve Gilbert, but the couple of times that the junior from Rhode Island got the ability to square up the softball, she really made Georgetown pay for it. A couple of close losses and then one big win for Georgetown against the Pirates last year. 1-1 to the third base side and foul. Ended up winning the final game of that 3-game set by the score of 10-1. Lost the first 2 games 4-2 and 4-3. Those games were both, or all 3 of them rather, were in South Orange, New Jersey. Part of a brutal 6-game road trip in which they took on Seton Hall and UConn, 2 of the top 3 teams in the Big East last year, back-to-back. 1-2 goes after the riser, does Gilbert. She's down on strikes for the 2nd time today, and that is now 5 strikeouts already for Kayla Dunn, more than halfway to her season high. Georgetown looks for their first base runner of the ballgame when we return to the nation's capital. Kayla Dunn leads off the bottom of the 3rd inning with an opportunity to help herself. The Georgetown pitcher will go to bat first against Kelsey Carr, who has seen 6 Georgetown Hoyas and retired them all. 2 strikeouts, 1 ground out, 3 pop outs for Kelsey Carr, who in 10 innings over the course of 2 games against Georgetown last year, in those 3 games in South Orange, through 10 innings, gave up 3 runs on 9 hits, struck out 6. Has really had the Hoyas number over the past couple of ball games, in the past couple of years spread out. But it's Dunn, Pardini, and Turner to try to change that due up for Georgetown as Dunn climbs into the batter's box. 172 average this year for the Georgetown pitcher. She takes the first pitch on the outside corner, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. 5 RBIs for Dunn. Georgetown looks to get their first base runner of their home 2024 schedule. Nearly the same pitch. That one just a tad off the plate. Catcher Howard turned around to make sure that that was the edge of the strike zone, or just past the edge of the strike zone. So it's 1-1 to the junior from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Hit .281 a season ago, did Dunn. .385 on base percentage, drove in 14. Led the team in ERA last year, was one of the key figures on the offensive end as well. A couple of real true 2-way pitchers make up the pitching matchup today, and the count moves to 3-1. Do still see that often, although now feeling less and less in college softball as the pitchers are increasingly flexed out of the lineup and more specialized. 3-1 swung on and missed, and the count's full. But a big-time recruit for Georgetown and Pat Conlon, 4-year starter in high school First team all-conference twice down in North Carolina. Was Conference Player of the Year twice as well. And another 3-2 swung on and missed. 3 consecutive strikeouts dating back to the second inning for Kelsey Carr. And last year's Conference Pitcher of the Year in the Big East is locked in here. And her first matchup with Hoy is in 2024. Holly Pardini, the catcher, up next to try to get something going for Georgetown. Freshman out of Petaluma, California. Had hits in 2 out of the 3 games against DePaul. It was the first time this season that she had hits in back-to-back games. Had knocks in each of the first 2 contests before she was held off the board in the finale. Had her first extra base hit of her career on Saturday. It was a solo home run against the Blue Demons. Unable to catch up to a fastball, though, and it's 1-1. Freshman coming out of high school who was team MVP, Offensive Player of the Year for Petaluma High School. 2-time first-team All-League as well, and another one of the underclassmen that litter this Georgetown lineup. 1-1 fastball brushed her off the plate. Swung on and missed, and the count moves to 2-2. Just 3 upperclassmen out of the 9 starters in the batting order for Georgetown. Wincher, Miller, and Dunn, 3, 4, and 6 in the order. 2-2 offering to Pardini. Swung on and missed. Make it 4 strikeouts in a row for Kelsey Carr. Doubling up on her strikeout tally. And she had in her 2 innings against Villanova last time that she was in the circle. And she can really gather strikeouts in bunches. Had a season-high 10 on the first day of March down in South Florida against FIU. And what was a true road game. Now the number 9 hitter, Claire Turner. Riser misses up high, and it is 1-0. Turner, a sophomore out of Palo Alto, California. Hit .272 a season ago, hitting .242 this year. And she is the main threat for Georgetown to run. Last year led the team in stolen bases with 16. That was tied for 6th in the entire conference. And she's ahead in the count now here at 2-0. And with runs seemingly hard to come by in this game, with how both Carr and Dunn are pitching, you have to imagine that if Turner's able to reach, there's a strong chance she'll try to steal as she squares to bunt for a hit, then pulls back and takes a strike. 3 runs scored in the past 4 games for Turner. She has a hit in all 4. Boys would love for her to extend the hit streak to 5 games. 2-1. Swung on and missed. Went after the riser up high, and it's 2-2. And Kelsey Carr with the opportunity for as clean of an inning as you can ask for. See if she goes back to the fastball that bottom of the order has had trouble catching up to so far. Able to put this one in play as Turner. It's in foul ground, though, and the first baseman, Gilbert, is able to track it down. Another 1-2-3 inning for Kelsey Carr, who has faced the entirety of the Georgetown order 1 through 9 and yet to concede a base runner. We're on our way to the 4th inning. Neither team yet to score a run so far in the nation's capital. Middle third of the Seton Hall order up against Kayla Dunn, who's back out there for inning number 4 of work. So far, Dunn has allowed 2 hits. She has walked 1, and she has struck out 4, while most importantly holding the Pirates off of the scoreboard. First pitch is a bouncer for Brennan, who was the first base runner of this ball game. She had a single to lead off the second inning, made her way to second base on a wild pitch, but was stranded out there when there was 2 on and 1 out, and Dunn got a pop out and a strikeout to end the inning. Behind the count here, 2-0. Brennan, a freshman from Yardley, Pennsylvania. 2 sport athletes, softball and basketball. And talk to college coaches, they love multi-sport athletes at the high school level. Keeps you involved and works on a lot of different skill sets that'll all become valuable at the next level. I've talked with college coaches who have lamented the specialization of sports, with players going to play just a single sport as young as middle school or even earlier, and that can really lose out for a lot for you. That's becoming increasingly common with the proliferation of club AAU scenes across a number of different sports. Dunn behind to the count here, 3-1. Has fallen behind and gotten herself into a number of 3-ball counts already today. She's been able to work her way out of many of them. And this one, she'll get a bouncer out towards the second baseman, Rebin. And there's 1 gone here in the 4th. So it's been bend but don't break for Dunn in terms of working herself behind in counts. That's the 1 walk to Allen, but you know that if Georgetown head coach Pat Conlon is looking for anything to nitpick on what's otherwise been a really solid outing for Dunn, it would be the amount of 3-ball counts she's worked herself into. Her back's kind of against the wall to have to groove a strike. That's a strike, and a really well-placed one to Caroline Hobbs. Flew out to left field back in the second frame. Hobbs, another 2-sport athlete in high school, against softball and basketball. That's relatively common as the count moves to 0-2 to see soccer and basketball, or soccer and softball, just depending on how the seasons overlap and wherever part of the country you are. In Bayshore, New York, where Caroline Hobbs is from, gets softball a little bit later in the year, so you can finish out the basketball season. 0-2, right to the third baseman, Campos, and she catches it on the fly, and there's 2 away. Dunn has retired 7 of the last 8 batters with the base hit to Taylor Hill, the only blemish in the past handful of at-bats. Here's Allen, the 1 walk that she's conceded so far. She'll take the first pitch off the outside corner. It's 1-0. Allen looking for a base hit to start a 2-out rally. Not a huge extra base hitting threat. Has 2 extra base hits all year. Both came in the same game on February the 17th against Maine. They were both doubles. She hits that one to the right side. It's knocked down by Rebin. She's not going to have a play, though, against Allen, who runs well. Wincher, the first baseman, also committed over to her right away from the bag to try to knock the ball down. And as soon as it got past her, Allen was always going to reach on what you have to imagine will be an infield hit. It is. It's the 3rd hit of the day for Seton Hall. And it'll extend the inning for Aaron Howard. Howard popped out to the second baseman back in the second frame. First pitch off the plate. So Allen, the first batter for either team to find her way aboard twice so far today. Of course, Georgetown still looking for their first base runner, but Kayla Dunn has done a really good job of locking it down on the other side of things. Keep Georgetown in the ball game. 1-0. Spoiled foul, and it'll be a ball and a strike. Talked about what's next for Seton Hall. Up next for Georgetown, they take on those same Villanova Wildcats, who Seton Hall just had all that trouble with on the main line. It'll be Georgetown at Villanova. They'll take the trip up I-95. And then Creighton the week after. So Blue Jays will take on Seton Hall next weekend, and then Georgetown the following. 1-1 upstairs. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Creighton in action today in a non-conference battle. We'll talk more about the out-of-town scoreboard a little bit later on in the contest. But first, Kayla Dunn with an opportunity to get out of this fourth inning jam. As the 2-1 runs inside, though, and the count moves to 3-1. Yet another one of those 3-ball counts that has really haunted Dunn so far today. Perez on deck. 3-1 to Howard. In there for strike number 2. And that will send Allen away from first with a full count and 2 outs as soon as Dunn releases the pitch. One of the bigger spots in the ballgame, along with that second inning, with runs as much as a premium and with base runners as much as a premium as we've had in this game. Every opportunity with a runner on feels like a big moment. 3-2 is out towards left center field. Diving after it's Marciano, not going to get there. Runner was off with the pitch, and rounding third is Allen. The throw to short is off the glove of the cutoff man, Stripmatter, and it's an RBI double for Aaron Howard. It's 1-0 Seton Hall. A 2-out rally for the Pirates on the infield hit, and then the double for Howard as she gets RBI number 6 on the season, and the Pirates take a 1-0 lead. Was always going to be a tough play for Turner in center field as soon as Marciano was unable to come up with the ball on a diving effort, and full credit to the left fielder for the extension. But as soon as it got to the wall and Allen running off of the pitch with the 3-2 count and 2 outs, he was always likely to score. Then the ball deflected off of Stripmatter's glove, who was the cutoff. So 1-0 lead for the Pirates, and they're not done here in the top half of the fourth as Andrea Perez climbs into the righty batter's box. Pops the first pitch out towards right center field. It keeps carrying, but Turner is able to track it down. And that will end the inning, but not before Aaron Howard with an RBI double to get Seton Hall's scoring day started. It's 1-0 Pirates as we're halfway home in the nation's capital. Top of the order for Georgetown after Kelsey Carr worked 1 through 9 in the Georgetown order without conceding a base runner in the first 3 innings, and Brooke Rebhan will look to change that. Georgetown's second baseman grounded out to the shortstop back in the first, and the first offering to her here is up high and out of the zone. Rebhan, a freshman out of Miami. Already with 5 doubles, a triple, and a home run under her belt so far this year. Home run came on March the 2nd against Murray State. Lines that one down the left field line and over towards the Seton Hall bullpen. And it is 1-1. The 2023 Miami Herald Female Spring Athlete of the Year. 3-time first-team All-Dade County out of part of the country that produces a lot of softball talent. 1-1 up high and out of the zone. 2-1 out of Westminster Christian School. They're southwest of downtown Miami, not too far from Coral Gables, campus of the University of Miami. Two-one up high and out of the zone as well, and one of the first 3-ball counts that Kelsey Carr has had to battle with. Talked about how often Dunn has worked herself into a 3-ball count. Carr has been working ahead of most of the batters that she's faced, but is behind here to Rebhan. And the 3-1 back up and over the backstop, and the count will run full. Carr with 4 strikeouts through the order in the first 9. Only 1 ground out. 4 strikeouts, 4 pop outs, and the 1 ground out to Rebhan. Or from Rebhan, rather. Payoff pitch to the second baseman. That might have hit her bat, and it did. And the second baseman a little bit frustrated knowing that she offered just enough at what would have been ball 4 to keep the at-bat alive. Rebhan started the season and started her career for the freshman, reaching in 13 of her first 14 games. Has cooled off a little bit since. Went 0 for 3 in the final game of the DePaul series. Fouls that one back up and over the backstop as well, back towards the rest of the press area. We'll do the 3-2 all over again. Strittmatter and Campos also due up here in the bottom half of the 4th as Georgetown looking to respond to the first run of the game put up by Seton Hall in the top half of the frame. Another payoff pitch. Bounce to the third baseman, Blevins. Did she keep it in play in fair territory? No, it'll be a foul ball. And we'll do the 3-2 yet again. Georgetown last year 16-33, 9-15 in the Big East. Missed out on the Big East tournament. Looking to get back against the Seton Hall team that leads this all-time series 23-13. The 3-2 is off the inside edge, and Georgetown has a base runner for the first time today. Excellent at-bat by Rebhan. Spoiled foul a couple of 3-2 pitches, and just lived to see another pitch, lived to see another pitch. And was able to work the walk. We'll see if Rebhan's on the move. Talked about how hard runs have been to come by today. See if the Hoyas can play a bit of small ball as Strittmatter up to the plate next. Not running as Rebhan, although she bluffed as if she were. And Strittmatter takes one up high and out of the zone. Strittmatter out of Scottsdale, Arizona, Desert Mountain High School. Won a state championship there. Scoring to bunt here, dropping it down foul. And it counts 1-1. So there's the small ball that the Hoyas and Pat Conlon were looking to play. And now that Strittmatter has shown her hand, we'll see if she squares around again, and if she does a little bit earlier. The corners of the infield, Blevins and Gilbert pinch in. She will square to bunt. This time she'll drop it down. Only play is going to be at first base. Job done by Emily Strittmatter. And there's a Georgetown runner in scoring position. It's defended well by Blevins, but Strittmatter does her job. And gets a good ovation from the rest of the dugout. So an opportunity for Campos, who's the hitter you'd want up in this situation if you're Georgetown. 19 RBIs on the season, and then Winder with 14. After her, those two lead the Hoyas by quite some margin, and so the Pirates will come together and have a conversation about how to attack these two. Of the 84 runs that the Hoyas have gotten RBIs for, the next two batters coming up to the plate have 39% of them. Hoyas have scored 7 runs not via RBIs, but these are the 2 run producers up next. Campos and Wincher for Georgetown, and they're set up with the tying run in scoring position and with excellent speed at second in Rebhan. The biggest at-bat of the ball game thus far for Georgetown. Campos had probably the hardest contact of anybody through the Georgetown order the first time through, lacing one out towards second base, but Hobbs was able to corral it with a diving grab. First offering here skips away from the catcher, Howard, and moving up to third as Rebhan. Well, that completely changes the mindset of the at-bat here for Campos, who now can tie the ball game with a productive out. Anything lifted to the outfield would be enough at this point to make it a 1-1 game. that one hit to the right side. Diving play by Gilbert to knock it down. She tries to tag Campos and can. It was a fair ball, and Campos is going to be safe. And a run's going to score. That play just all developed in slow motion. As Gilbert dove after it, it stayed a fair ball. She lunged after Campos, who was able to evade the tag. And Seton Hall going to go have a conversation with the home plate umpire about what just unfolded. But regardless, Rebhan is able to score, and it's a 1-1 game. There's a couple of questions at work. If it was a fair or foul ball, and if Campos was, in fact, able to avoid the tag. And the home plate umpire does not make a change to any of the rulings, so it's a 1-1 ball game. And a small ball employed to perfection for Georgetown as they score a run without the ball leaving the infield. They walk, the bunt, the wild pitch, and the infield hit. So now here's Wincher. First pitch just off the outside edge, and it's 1-0. And just like that, the big RBI double for Howard in the top half of the fourth inning canceled out in the bottom half of the fourth. And after Carr worked so smoothly through the order in the first 3 innings, has run into some trouble here in the fourth. Wincher slices one foul. That will get out of play and onto the baseball field. What a turn of events here in the fourth inning with the first hit of the game for Georgetown, an RBI. And it was an infield hit at that. That's going to be a strike to Wincher on a fastball, and it's 1-2. Carr seems to really be locating the fastball well today. And Wincher behind the count. Graduate student transfer from Michigan State will take that one out of the zone, and it's 2-2. Played 112 games for the Spartans over 4 years, the most experienced player in the Georgetown order. Career .296 hitter for the Spartans out of the Big Ten. 2-2 pop foul again, and count will stay right where it is. It was a big get for the Spartans coming out of high school, and now for the Hoyas in that transfer portal, with Wincher using that 5th year of eligibility that the pandemic granted everyone. She was a huge high school recruit, 3rd-team All-American in high school out of Houston, Texas, and Dobie High School holds her school's RBI record. Faces this 2-2 count here that she hits back up the middle. That will get down into left center field. Campos will hold right at second. But just like that, 3 base runners out of 4 batters in this 4th inning, and back-to-back knocks for the Hoyas. And they're set up with 2 on and just 1 out in the 4th. Second time through the order, and Georgetown's been able to solve Kelsey Carr far more. Now here's Samantha Miller, who is 0 for her last 13 with 6 strikeouts. And if there was ever a time to break out of that rut, it would be right here. Nobody up in either pen. It's done in Carr's game as it stands, at least for the next foreseeable future. The first offering to Miller couldn't catch up to the fastball, and it's 0-1. On deck for Georgetown, Gabby Park. As the script has completely flipped here at Nats Academy after Seton Hall was cruising and threatening to take the lead. Well, now the lead runner, Campos, is going to be replaced by a pinch runner, a little more speed out there at second base. Runner's number is obstructed from our view, at least momentarily. It looks like it is number 6, Kiaris Alvarado Rojas. A senior from Lorton, Virginia, hometown kid who went to Bishop O'Connell High School, is now the lead runner. To replace Campos, you'd have to imagine that the third baseman, Campos, will re-enter the game when we head to the 5th inning. A 0-1 count to Miller. Another fastball that missed off the plate, and it's 1-1. Rojas primarily used as a runner. Did score against DePaul as a pinch runner. Also be used for defense at times. 1-1 is hit into the left center field gap. Moving over is Kai. It's going to drop down in front of her. And moving over to third will be the trail runner. Wincher gets away from the third baseman, Blevins, and 2 more runs are going to score. An RBI for Samantha Miller, and then another run comes home on the error, and just like that, the Hoyas lead at 3-1. Rojas was always going to score when it dropped down in front of Kai, but the throw was cut off and went to the third baseman as the trail runner Wincher made an aggressive turn towards third. And Seton Hall was unable to cut her down. It got past Blevins, and easily scoring was Wincher. And after Kelsey Carr had a perfect game through 3 innings, 3 runs here in the 4th with just 1 out, have allowed the Hoyas to completely turn things around. And that's got to feel awfully good for Miller. We've talked about how much she has struggled. She's going to be replaced at second base by Juliana Paul. That's got to feel so good for Samantha Miller, who's just been unable to buy a base hit over the past 5 or 6 games. And she got every piece of that softball to lace one out towards left center field. And start in motion a play that would score 2 Georgetown runs. Now Gabby Park, who is one of 3 consecutive strikeout victims back in the 2nd. Another runner in scoring position for Georgetown. And lefty Park up against the righty Carr. First pitch downstairs, and it's 1-0. Paul, a freshman who is now standing at second base out of West Hampton, New Jersey. Also primarily used in this capacity in her freshman campaign. 1-0 bounce to the right side. That'll move the runner over to third, but there are now 2 down as Park is retired for to 3. But Paul now moves only 1 base away for the pitcher Dunn, who has a huge opportunity to drive in another run, give herself a little bit of insurance. It'll be 9-1-2 due up for Seton Hall in the 5th as they'll look to respond. But what a 4th inning it has been for Georgetown. We're looking for a big-time victory against a team picked to finish 3rd in the Big East preseason poll and open up their 2024 home schedule. What would be one of their bigger wins of the season. Ball and a strike now to Dunn. The big difference so far in this game, Georgetown has just been able to make the most out of the few chances that they've had. Seton Hall hasn't. It's the 1-1 off the plate. It's 2 balls and a strike. Georgetown is 3 for 4 with runners on. They're 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Seton Hall is 1 for 7 with runners on and 0 for 3 with a runner in scoring position. And that's the difference as it stands right now. Ball caught the outside corner, and it's 2-2. Georgetown hasn't left a runner on. Obviously, in those first 3 innings, they didn't have a runner. Seton Hall's left 4 runners on already. Pirates just haven't been able to capitalize on their chances. The Hoyas have. 2-2, nearly the same spot. The second baseman, Hobbs, start to jog over back towards the dugout. The count will instead run full. 7th batter of this 4th inning. And the Hoyas trying to send it to an 8th batter. 3-2 is just off the plate on the inside edge this time. After Carr started off the 4th inning with a walk, that got things started for Georgetown. She walks Dunn to set up a spot with runners at the corners for Pardini. Pardini, the freshman, with just 3 RBIs this season, and Georgetown's head coach Pat Conlon has the lineup card back in her hand. Does look like it is Pardini who is going to hit. No changes made so far. Well, it actually won't be Pardini who gets the chance to hit. Macy Levitt is going to come on in to hit instead. the graduate student transfer from Cornell, and a big spot with runners at the corners as Pat Conlon recognizing this a big opportunity for the Hoyas to gain a little more separation. Ball misses downstairs. It's 1-0. Levitt riding a 5-game hit streak, so Conlon opting for the hot hand. 6 over the last 14, a .429 average over the last 5 games for Levitt. Even up at a ball and a strike now the count is. .263 average so far this year for Levitt, who started 20 of the first 23 games. 1 home run, 7 RBIs. Lifts this one in the air. Shallow right field. Hill giving chase, as is the first baseman Gilbert. He'll run out of play over towards the Georgetown bullpen, where there is a righty starting to get loose. We'll see how much patience Conlon has for Kayla Dunn back when Georgetown toes the rubber in the 5th. But first, the 1-2 to Levitt. Fouled away again. It's Avery Wismar who's getting loose for Georgetown in the pen. We'll see if it will be Kayla Dunn's 5th inning when Georgetown goes back to the defensive side of things. But looking for a bigger lead when they do. The 1-2 to Levitt is on the inside edge, strike 3. And the 5th strikeout of the day for Kelsey Carr will end the 4th inning, but not before Georgetown pushes 3 runs across, including a big RBI single for Samantha Miller. As Georgetown grabs the lead for the first time at home this season, we head to the 5th. It's Georgetown 3, Seton Hall 1. On our way to inning number 5 as we welcome you back to the nation's capital. Ben Curtis here with you on a Friday afternoon, and Seton Hall now chasing the game by the score of 3-1. 1 in the top half of the 4th for the Pirates. Georgetown answered with 3 in the bottom half of the 4th. And now it's 9-1-2 for Seton Hall to try to get the runs back, starting off with Lauren Kai, the center fielder, who popped out to the first baseman to start off the 3rd inning of work. Dunn is back out there. Wismar back in the Georgetown bullpen, just out of your picture. And we'll see how long Kayla Dunn is allowed to pitch here in the 5th. A 1-2 count will keep her in the game a little bit longer. Kai did not appear for the Pirates against the Hoyas in any of the 3 games these teams played in South Orange last year, so getting her first look in 2024 at Georgetown. And she hits that one out towards left center field, giving chases Marciano. She's not going to get there as it one hops the wall. On her way to second base is Kai. She's not stopping there. On her way to 3rd, the throw comes in not in time. It's a leadoff triple for Lauren Kai. And the pendulum swings back the other way of Seton Hall. After no runs for either team in the first 3 innings, 4 combined runs in the 4th, and now a leadoff triple here to start the 5th for Seton Hall. And that will send the top of the lineup back up to the plate and Taylor Hill. The 2022 Big East Freshman of the Year will have an opportunity for her 7th RBI of the campaign. Went 3 for 11 with a double and a run scored last year. Did Hill loves playing against the Hoyas. It's 1 for 2 today. First offering from Dunn. Off the plate, good stop by Pardini. There's not a ton of room back behind her here at Nats Academy, but there is enough that Kai would really have a think about being able to come home and score if it skips too far away from Pardini. So see how much Dunn is able to expand the strike zone as a result of that. 1-0 off speed, stuck in her hand a bit, and it's 2-0. Hill's hit streak now sits at 4. Only a triple away from completing a cycle over the course of these past 4 games. She's got a single, a double, and a home run between the games against Georgetown and Villanova. That's a really good stop from Pardini, and it really had to be. That ball was in the dirt, and Pardini is able to scoop it and keep Kai right where she is at third. But again, Dunn working to another 3-ball count. And a 4-pitch walk to Taylor Hill. And just like that, the tying run is aboard here for Seton Hall in the top half of the 5th. And Kelsey Carr will have an opportunity, and this is not the batter that Georgetown would have wanted to see in this kind of spot. As Angie Churchill will go beckon Carr to have a conversation with her senior. Last year's Big East RBI leader. And just the 3rd Seton Hall Pirate to ever drive in 50 RBIs in a single season. And she is at the plate now with 2 more RBIs set up for her. Runner at third base is Kai. Runner at first base is Hill. And the first offering to Carr. Squaring to bunt, dropping it down. Flip to home, and safe at home is Kai. The squeeze play put on by Kelsey Carr, the pitcher. And it works to perfection for Seton Hall. And just like that, it's a 1-run game again. And moving up to second base to boot was Hill. And now Olivia Gilbert, who is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts, can wipe the slate clean from her first 2 at-bats. With 1 swing of the bat. Takes the first pitch up high and outside. That is now RBI number 12 on the season for Carr. And makes the margin just 1 run. 1-0 to Gilbert. Big swing and a miss on an off-speed. Had her fooled. And it's 1-1 to the first baseman. Trying to extend that 8-game hitting streak. One of the big sluggers on this team. Career .459 slugging percentage. Last year it was a tick above that, .473. Has 2 home runs this season. Just missing on the outside edge was Dunn. Wismar is now into her full windup, getting warmed up. Just out of your picture in the Georgetown bullpen. And this could be one of Kayla Dunn's final batters of the ball game. 2-1. Missed it inside, 3-1, and especially if Dunn does walk the bases loaded with still nobody out here in the top half of the 5th. That could be just about it for her. Big pitch here, but still nobody out. 3-1 count. And she missed it low and inside to Gilbert. And the bases are full of Pirates here with nobody out in the 5th. And that could be just about that for Kayla Dunn. Mound visit going to be made. We'll see if the softball is axed away from her. As Kayla Dunn working herself back into some trouble in the fifth. 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth here so far for Seton Hall. 3 in the fourth for Georgetown, standing up as the lead, but only for now. And it looks as though Dunn is going to, for the moment, stay in the game, as she and the rest of the infield having a conversation about how to approach the next batter, who is Katie Brennan. And Dunn is going to remain in the ballgame. So a huge chance for Brennan, the freshman. 1 for 2 today. At third base is Hill. At second base is Carr. At first base is Gilbert. And Katie Brennan and her 10 RBIs are in the lefty batter's box. And taking a first pitch outside, there is nowhere to put Brennan, with the tying run on third and the go-ahead run at second. So all of the offense has come alive here in the back half of the ballgame. 1-0, and it had to be. But the count to 2-0 now. And still nobody out here in the top half of inning number 5. Infield creeping in for Georgetown. Anything on the ground, they'll be coming home with it to preserve the lead. 2-0. Just missed the outside corner, and it is 3 balls and no strikes. Wismar is done with her warm-up in the bullpen. And perhaps just one more base runner that Dunn concedes is all the patience that Pat Conlon will have. 3-0. A strike down the middle, taking all the way was Brennan. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Wind starting to pick up just a little bit here at Nats Academy. It's blowing a bit from left to right. That will help out the lefty hitting Brennan just a tad. 3-1. Bat never left her shoulder. It's ball 4, and this game is tied at 3. Jogging home is Hill. Carr moves to second, to third, Gilbert to second, and Brennan to first. And the first pitch to Hobbs is going to have to wait, because it might not be out of the hand of Dunn, as back out there with her lineup card is Conlon. And Avery Wismar is going to come on into the game. We'll step aside and allow her to warm up. When we bring you back to Nats Academy, the Pirates will have the bases loaded and nobody out. Well, a precarious situation for Avery Wismar to enter into this contest. A 3-3 tie with the bases full of Pirates and nobody out here in the top half of the 5th inning as Kayla Dunn's day is done. Her line is not finished, though. She's responsible for all three runners, who are out there right now. And Carr at third, Gilbert at second, and Brennan at first. But the 10th game of the season that Avery Wismar enters, she has a 7.64 ERA. Or rather, Wismar was the first one to warm up in the bullpen, and it looked like she was the one jogging out there, but that's Julia Parker who is in the circle. So cross out everything they just said. It was Wismar who was warming up in the pen, but Julia Parker is the one who is ready. And Parker, the senior from South Plainfield, New Jersey, will have the opportunity. Parker started 20 games last year. She started 10 this year. This is her third appearance out of the bullpen. 3.64 ERA. Some of the best numbers on this Georgetown team, and perhaps Pat Conlon thinking initially that she could go to Wismar, but with the 5th inning deteriorating as quickly as it did, opted to go for a bit of a bigger gun in Parker. Abby Kozo also replaces Murciano, the flex, out in left field. So we get everything sorted out with the lineup cards that we need to. Home plate umpire back to the official scorer behind home plate to sort out all of the changes made by Georgetown as they look to navigate through this 5th inning. So it is Parker who will be in the circle. Through 6 innings of 4-run softball against DePaul last Sunday. Did give up 1 home run, walked 2, struck out 3, and the first pitch way up high and out of the zone. Great stop by Pardini. Stabbing at it to keep it in front of her and keep Carr right where she is a third. Caroline Hobbs is 0 for 2 today with a pop-out and a fly-out. A fly-out to the outfield would probably be enough to give Seton Hall the lead back. She pops this one in foul territory, though. It will get out of play. And the count moves to 1 ball and 1 strike. Hobbs with 7 RBIs this season. But a huge opportunity to give the Pirates the lead back. In case you're just joining us, you're getting pretty much all the offense the last couple of innings. Zeros across the board for both teams in the first 3 innings. This ball is lifted in the air, right center field. The second baseman, Rebin, is going to let it drop in front of her as Park was unable to come up with it either. The throw to second base not in time. And Seton Hall grabs the lead. It was in shallow right center field, right in that Bermuda triangle between right field, center field, and second base, where there's all sorts of danger. And all 3 Hoyas thought that another was going to go get it. But they might call infield fly, and they will. And Hobbs is going to be retired. That's a huge bailout for Georgetown. The runners can both still advance because you can advance at your own risk. The infield fly rule intact. But the infield fly retires Hobbs, and there is 1 out, although Seton Hall does take the lead. So with all that, Allen will step up to the plate next. And she lines one right towards the center field. It'll drop in front of Turner for a base hit. The throw will come in quickly, but it's an RBI single for Leela Allen. And the Pirates piling it on here in inning number 5. Well, the official stats say 5-3. We have 5-3 the score as well. On the Nats Park scoreboard, it says 6-3. We'll try to get that sorted out for you, but best we can tell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runners have come home to score for Seton Hall. And there'll be a pinch runner for the Pirates. That will replace Allen over at first base. Can't quite make out who it is from our vantage point. But regardless, a huge 5th inning for Seton Hall. The only out coming on the infield fly rule. A reminder that it does not have to drop in the infield. It kind of dropped right in that lip of the infield and the outfield, but it's got to be a routine fly ball for an infielder. And the officials ruled that it was. And Hobbs was retired, but now the 8th batter of the inning, Howard, will step up to the plate. Score is 6-3. The first pitch is outside, and it's 1-0. With 2 scoring on that last RBI from Allen. First pitch, or rather the 1-1, is just off the plate. Off speed that Parker was unable to get the call on. Blevins is the pinch runner, by the way, in place of Allen. Went off the plate as well. 2 balls and a strike now to Howard. 1 for 2 today with an RBI double back in the 4th inning. That got all the offense started. And it started a run of 9 runs combined in the last inning and a half after no runs in twice that amount of time. That's another great stop by Pardini. Not the first time we've said that today. She's had a lot of work to do with a lot of runners at third base. And so far, she's been able to keep everything in front of her and at least keep the Georgetown pitchers in at bats. At the 3-1 is able to catch the outside corner, and the count runs full. There'll be a lot of work for Georgetown to do in the bottom half of the 5th inning. They'll send 9-1-2 to the order, or to the plate rather, in the order, to try to get some of these runs back. As the 3-2 bounces off of the glove of Parker, she's able to recover and flip over to first base. Good play by Wincher to keep her foot on the bag, but another run is going to come home and score. It's 7-3 Seton Hall. RBI ground out by Howard, and the 9th batter of the inning in Perez will step up to the plate. With the lone runner for Seton Hall at second base. Andrea Perez is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. That ball hit to the left side, knocked down by Rebhan. Going to be a long throw, not in time. Infield hit for Perez, and Seton Hall is going to bat around here in the top half of the 5th. It was always going to be a difficult play as soon as the third baseman, Campos, was unable to get to it. Stripmatter did well to knock it down and keep it in the infield. That probably saved another run, but was never really going to get the speedy Perez. So Lauren Kai, who started out this inning with a triple, the opportunity to bat again with runners at the corners. First pitch downstairs, and it is 1-0. A triple, a walk, a squeeze bunt RBI kicked off the offense for Seton Hall. They haven't looked back. A 6th spot here in the 5th, and they're looking for more as the count's 2-0 on Kai. 10th batter of the inning for Seton Hall. You ask some people what batting around is, they'll say it's when the batter who led off the inning bats again. Some people will say it's just batting all 9 batters in the same inning. That one's hit down the right field line, slicing into foul ground. Navigating that right field corner was Park. She was unable to come up with it as she slammed into the fence with a slide. Thankfully, appears to be okay. Well, now Wismar is getting loose in the pen for Georgetown. The count moves to 2-1. Second life for Kai after Park was unable to navigate the traffic out there down the right field line. It's a difficult play with the ball hooking away from her as well. 2-1 in the air, left center field this time. Kozo calling everybody off, and she makes the catch on the run to end the inning. But not before the damage is done for the Pirates. A 6-run 5th inning makes it 7-3 Seton Hall. Georgetown will try to get some of those runs back in the bottom half of the 5th inning when we return to Nats Academy. Well, just like that, Kelsey Carr is back into the circle, pitching with the largest lead Seton Hall has had all day, a 4-run cushion for Carr and the Pirates to work with as they face 9-1-2 in the Georgetown order. And Claire Turner will look to kickstart a Georgetown rally to get something back. Pirates have 7 runs on 7 hits, 1 error. They've left 4 runners on. Georgetown has 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and they have left 2 runners on. Now, although the Pirates are just 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position, we're finally able to make the most of their opportunities in the 5th inning, and that's been the big difference so far. Now, Turner will step into the batter's box, 0 for 1 with a pop-out. That ended the 3rd inning and ended a run for Carr in which she went 9 up, 9 down through the Georgetown order the first time through, and gave up 3 runs in the 4th inning. The first pitch to Turner is off the plate right underneath her hands. And the count is 1-0. Turner already has 3 games with 2 or more hits, including a 3-for-3 day with 5 RBIs, double and a triple against LIU, and what was the first win of the season for the Georgetown Hoyas down in Fort Myers in Southwest Florida. 1-1 count to Turner. The wind again starts to pick up. That one's on the outside edge, and the count moves to 1-2. Brooke Rebhan, Emily Strittmatter also due up here in this bottom half of the 5th inning. Georgetown doesn't need all of the runs back, but they would love to grab at least a little bit of momentum as comebacker comes right back to Carr, and Turner is retired for the 2nd time today. If you can just scratch across 1 or 2 more of those runs to climb a little bit closer, that'll put you in a pretty decent spot heading into the last 2 innings. So here's Rebhan as Georgetown goes through the order for the 3rd time. First pitch well off the plate, and it is 1-0 to Rebhan, who grounded out to start off the game, then walked and scored back in the 4th. It was the walk to Rebhan that really kick-started the whole at-bat. Really the whole inning, I should say, for Georgetown. She's ahead in the count here, 2-0. To Rebhan. That one catches the outside corner, and it is 2-1. That's a at-bat changing call from 3-1, or from 3-0 rather, to 2-1. That one's sliced down the right field line. It's going to get out of play and back over onto the bullpen, onto the baseball field. 6th game so far this season that Georgetown has conceded 7 or more runs. They allowed the most they've allowed all year, 13 against Lipscomb down in Nashville on March the 2nd in a 13-4 loss. The count runs full. It's 3-2 to Rebhan now. They've conceded 10 or more runs 3 different times. They allowed 10 each to Florida Gulf Coast and Ohio as well. Payoff pitch to Rebhan. Under her hands for ball 4, and Georgetown has a base runner here in the 5th. That'll send the heart of the Georgetown lineup to the plate, starting off with Strittmatter, who really kick-started the Georgetown 4th inning rally after the Rebhan great bunt to the 3rd base side to get Rebhan into scoring position. And Nia Campos had an RBI single, and Georgetown was off and running offensively. First offering to Strittmatter. That one's on the inside corner. Carr really trying to attack the inside part of the plate to these righty hitters. Not giving them anything they can pull and drive. Just weak contact is all you can really do with those that are right underneath your hands. But Rebhan was able to see enough of those out of the zone to draw the 1-out walk. Strittmatter, though, behind 0-2. Five doubles in the last 6 games for Strittmatter. Another one would really set up Georgetown nicely here in the bottom of the 5th. 0-2 with 1 out as well off the plate Strittmatter wasn't fishing after it, and she stays alive in the count. Clouds continuing to roll in, and pretty ominous ones into DC. Hopefully we will evade them as it stands. It's the 1-2 hammer down the third base line over towards the Georgetown coaching staff. Count stays right where it is at 1-2. And for a first pitch temperature of 72 degrees, it's not really feeling like that now. And there's a bit of a chill in the air as the wind continues to pick up. One-two offering from Carr to Strittmatter. Right in front of the second base bag, Perez is able to catch it on the fly. And there's 2 away here in the 5th. That will set up Naya Campos. Campos had that RBI single back in the 4th. Got her RBI number 20 on the season. She has her base runner over there at first base in Rebhan. Georgetown 3 of 6 with runners on base today. That one did not miss by much, but it did miss, and the count 1 ball and no strikes from Carr, who is well acquainted with going the distance. We'll see if she gets all 7 innings in this one. Has done that a handful of times already this season. That one just off the plate. And Campos in a good hitter's count. It's 2-0. Right down the middle, and looked like Campos was taking all the way, just trying to see a strike and work her way back into this at-bat against Carr. Two. Of the 7 starts coming into play today that Carr had, she finished 6 of them. You have to imagine that Seton Hall would want her to go all 7 again today. 2-2, 2 outs, and the runner at first base to Campos. Lifted in the air, center field, Kai moving back. She has room, and she makes the catch to end the inning. Carr works around the 1-out walk, and we are through 5 innings of play here at Nats Academy. It's Seton Hall 7 and Georgetown 3. Welcome you back to Nats Academy here in the top half of the 6th inning, and We're all going through our different scorebooks to try to confirm exactly what the score is. Some of us have 6-3, some of us have 7-3, and what was a wild fifth inning that included a infield fly rule being put into intact. It has now been changed from 7-3 to 6-3 on the official scoreboard here. Our official live stats have gone down. So at the moment it stays 6-3. Seton Hall. As we head to the top half of the sixth inning, we'll let you know as that continues, as there is a new pitcher for Georgetown in the circle, as it is now Avery Wismer, who had been warming up previously. Julia Parker came in for one inning of work, and now Wismer, the junior from Brentwood, Tennessee, gets the opportunity to hit. 2 balls and no strikes to Taylor Hill. Seton Hall sent 10 different batters to the plate in that big fifth inning in which they retook the lead. That ball hit right back up the middle and into center field, and a base knock to start off inning number 6. A good start for Seton Hall. And Hill is aboard for the 3rd time today. That'll send up Kelsey Carr to the plate. Carr had that big squeeze bunt in the 5th inning to drive home a run and got the deficit back down to just 1. Runner bluffs, no back pick, and a pitch that just missed the zone to Carr. Busy day around the Big East and around the country around college softball. Number of top 25 teams in action, a couple of top 25 matchups. Number 17, Texas A&M, number 18, Mississippi State amongst them. Pitch floats out of the zone. And Carr works her way back ahead in the count. Number 12, Missouri's in Knoxville, take on number 9, Tennessee as well. But a couple of Big East games that are already in action. Pitch is foul back and up and over the backstop, and Carr at the count at 1-2 now. One game is already in the books as well. St. John's picks up a win over Butler in Queens. 6-3, the Johnnies win that one. Creighton, who each of these teams face in the next couple of weekends, has a non-conference matchup with Northern Colorado. That one runs upstairs. It's 2-2. In fact, they've got a doubleheader against Northern Colorado. First of their 2 games is just about wrapping up. They're in the top of the 7th in Omaha. It's 2-1 Blue Jays. This 2-2 count coming up here to Kelsey Carr with a runner on and nobody out here in the top half of the 6th. It's hammered out towards left field. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is. Foul. Oh, that ball was absolutely uncorked by Carr. That had the distance and then some to trouble the Seton Hall bus parked out there. But thankfully for the bus, the net was there to block it, and thankfully for Georgetown, it was on the wrong side from a Pirates perspective of the foul pole. A 2-2 runs outside and it counts 3-2. A couple of other games around the Big East today. UConn leads DePaul 2-1. That's in the top of the 6th in Storrs, Connecticut. Villanova all over Providence 8-0 in the bottom of the 5th. And then Creighton and Northern Colorado will play the second game of their doubleheader. 3-2 punch to the right side and through for a base hit. Throw comes into second and briefly skips away from Stripmatter, but holding right at second base is Hill. But just like that, back-to-back knocks for Seton Hall in the top half of the 6th, and the Pirates set up with a little bit more. So here's Olivia Gilbert, who is 0 for 2 today with a walk and a run scored. We can confirm that the score is, at least for now, 6-3. We've gotten the live stats all straightened away with the official scoreboard and the official scorebook, and it is 6-3. And the home opener for Georgetown. We're all getting the slide rule calibrated. The Pirates with an opportunity to make it more than 6-3 here in the top half of the sixth. 2 on and nobody out, and the heart of their order up. Gilbert with 10 RBIs on the campaign has 2 more ducks on the pond. 2-0 runs upstairs. Rather, that was the 1-0 that ran upstairs, and the count now moves to 2-0. Seton Hall 4 for 14 with runners on base, 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position so far today. Gilbert takes a strike, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Gilbert with probably her last opportunity of the day to extend the hit streak to 9. That ball hit to the right side, knocked down by the shortstop Strittmatter, and she gets the lead runner. That's to the left side, I should say, and Strittmatter with a smart play, knowing she probably didn't have a chance to make the long throw to get Gilbert all the way across the diamond. Instead goes the short way to Campos, who's covering third, and Hill, who's the lead runner, is cut down for the first out of the sixth. Wind really continuing to swirl here now in Southeast DC. I'll help out the lefty batters a little bit, and here's another one of them, Katie Brennan. Walked and scored a run back in the fifth. Also had a single to get the first base runner of the game back in the second. Takes the first pitch up stairs for ball number 1. So at second base now is Carr. At first base is Gilbert, with Hill off the base paths. One-0 to Brennan. Crossed up Pardini a little bit, it looked like. Didn't miss by a ton, but it's 2-0 now to the Seton Hall left fielder. Middle third of the order coming up for Georgetown in the bottom half of the sixth as the Hoyas running out of time to track down this 3-run deficit. They're trying to keep it right at 3 runs for the moment is the job at hand for Avery Wismer. Missed the zone that time, though, and it's 3-0. Wismer appeared in 5 games last year. This is already game number 10 that she's appeared in this year. 7.64 ERA. Has struggled with command. 10 walks already this campaign to 8 strikeouts over the course of her 22 innings. That's walk number 11. And the bases are full of Pirates again here in the 6th. That'll set up an opportunity for Caroline Hobbs, who had that infield fly rule called against her. She thought she had reached with it, falling in between Rebhand, Turner, and Park back in that big 5th inning for Seton Hall. The Pirates have the lineup card back out, and the middle runner, Gilbert, is going to be replaced out at second base. Can't quite tell the number. There's a long ponytail covering the number. I believe it might be Jessica Muniz, the sophomore from Garden Grove, California. It is primarily used as a pinch runner, so that would make sense. But regardless, the main focus is on Hobbs. Another bases loaded situation. The first pitch runs well outside, and it's 1-0. Last time out for Wismer, she threw 3 innings against Murray State, and the Racers got to her 6 earned runs on 6 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Conceded 2 doubles to Murray State and ended up being a 7-6 win. That one bounced out towards the third baseman, coming home for one over to first base in time for a 5-2-3 double play. Campos came up throwing, Pardini turned it, and somehow Georgetown gets out of the inning. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Hoyas chasing the game by 3 runs in our nation's capital. Bottom of the 6th inning here for Georgetown. And the middle third of the order for the Hoyas due up against Kelsey Carr, who is back out there for inning number 6 of work. Carr so far through 5 innings has allowed 2 earned runs, 1 more unearned run, 3 hits. She's walked 3. She has struck out 5. And the count is 1-0. That's Wincher's spot in the order, but it isn't Cameron Wincher who is at the plate. It's Abby Schiller, who is 0 for 8 so far this season for the Hoyas. Looking for a different look to get the momentum swinging back the way of the Hoyas. 7 strikeouts in her 8 at-bats so far, Schiller. Looking for her first hit since February the 19th of 2023. That came against Lehigh. Comes up empty that time, and it's 1-2. Samantha Miller, Gabby Park also due up at the very least for Georgetown. We'll see if they reach further into the bench to try and solve Kelsey Carr, who's really just had the 1 inning of difficulty. That was the 4th. And 2-2 count now. If you take out the 4th inning and just look at innings 1, 2, 3, and 5, she's only conceded the 1 base runner, the 1-out walk to Rebhan. But that 8-batter 4th inning in which pretty much all the offense came for Georgetown's been all the runs for the Hoyas. Pop up on the infield. That's Blevins who is there to take care of it for the first out of the 6th. So Schiller moves to 0 for 9 on the season. It is Samantha Miller who will get the nod to hit. Next up, she is 1 for 2 today with that big RBI double back in the 4th. It was actually an RBI single, then advanced to second on a throwing error. Also struck out looking back in the 2nd inning, one of the 5 strikeout victims for Carr today. Spoils that one foul down the right field line. 0-1. It's just the first of a 3-game set between these two teams. Of all 3 games here for you, and hope that you join us tomorrow and Sunday. Tomorrow will be a 1 o'clock Eastern time start. Sunday, noon Eastern. As the 0-1 foul tipped into the glove of Howard, and it's 0-2. Last weekend, Georgetown won the first game of the series against DePaul, lost the next 2. Anything can happen from one day to the next. 0-2 offering is just off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes now for Carr. Nobody up in the pen for Seton Hall. You'd imagine that Carr is going to get all 7 innings here. 1-2. Hit down the right field line. That'll get foul again. That's not the first time today we've seen a ball over towards that baseball field down the right field line. That means that the Hoyas hitters are late against the fastball of Carr that's got plenty of velocity. See if Carr goes back to the well on that fastball. She goes off speed, and she fooled Miller to get her down on strikes for the 2nd time today. Punch out number 6 of the afternoon for Carr. And just like that, there's 2 away in the 6th. Gabby Park will be up next. A Franklin Lakes, New Jersey native. Grew up not too far from Seton Hall in North Jersey. Went to Immaculate Heart Academy. Won a state sectional championship with them. The first offering to her here is just off the plate on the inside edge. 1 ball and no strikes to the right fielder, who's 0 for 2 today. Strikeout and a ground out for Park. Already has a 5-game and a 4-game hit streak under her belt this year, trying to start a new one. Fouls that one off of her fists. It will get out of play. Over towards a handful of fans on the first base side wearing Seton Hall blue. Make a whole weekend out of the trip here to Washington, D.C. Cherry blossoms aren't quite in peak bloom, but they are starting to peek their way out. And makes for some decent viewing along the tidal basin. 1-1 just off the plate, 2 balls and a strike. Going to be spring break for some of these colleges around the Northeast as well. Good opportunity to trip right down I-95, take in some Georgetown versus Seton Hall softball. 2-1 just off the plate, it's 3-1. Kayla Dunn has her spot in the order on deck. It doesn't look like it's Dunn who's in the on-deck circle. We'll cross that bridge once we get to it if Park is able to reach here and extend this bottom half of the 6th. And she will do just that with a 5-pitch walk. And there's a runner aboard for the Hoyas here in the 6th. After they went 1, 2, 3 in each of the first 3 innings, there's been at least one base runner in each of the 3 next innings. And Kozo, who came on in to play left field when the starting pitcher Dunn was taken out of the game, is going to get the chance to hit. Kozo, the freshman out of Metuchen, New Jersey, another Garden State native, against the team from her home state. And the first offering runs upstairs to Kozo. First at-bat for the freshman since February the 23rd. She's come in to run a handful of times. She's come on in to play defense a handful of times. Did work walks against North Dakota State and Lipscomb since, but weren't counted as official at-bats. 1-1 now to her. Did pitch in one game as well back in the opening weekend of the season, Kozo. Didn't record an out against Florida Gulf Coast, allowed 4 earned runs on 1 hit and 3 walks. But fouled away to the third base side. It's 1-2, 1 runner on, 2 outs, and a 6-3 Seton Hall lead. As the home plate umpire needs more softballs with which to work. Abby Kozo, the career hits leader all-time at Metuchen High School. 3-time first-team all-conference nominee as well. Looking to extend this bottom half of the 6th inning with Park over at first base. The 1-2, just off the outer edge. Both teams have gotten that call a number of times today. The count instead moves to 2-2. Pardini's spot in the order up next, and it is Pardini in the on-deck circle. 2-2 down the left field line. We'll get fouling out of play. We'll do it all over one more time. See if Park is on the move from first here. She is not, and the 2-2 is right back to Carr. She'll go over to first base in time to retire Kozo and end the inning. A 2-out walk for Georgetown, but that's all they're able to muster. We're on our way to the 7th and final frame, and the Pirates nursing a 6-3 cushion here in Washington, D.C. Rain droplets starting to fall in Washington, D.C. as we head to the 7th and final inning of play. 6-3 cushion here for Seton Hall. Ben Curtis here with you, and we appreciate you spending some of your Friday afternoon with us as it's past 5 o'clock here on a Friday on the East Coast. If you're done with your work week, hope to start off the weekend with the conclusion of this Seton Hall and Georgetown matchup. Leila Allen due up first here in inning number 7 after Hobbs grounded into that 5-2-3 double play, which could loom large if Georgetown's able to get something going in the bottom of the 7th. It was a 6-3 game already as this went out towards right field. Park is right there, and there's one away. And it looked as though Seton Hall had the opportunity to really just break the game open. They're able to get a base hit and score a couple of runs. That would have made it a 4 or 5 run cushion, and the Pirates would have been off and running. But Campos, Pardini, and Wincher completed the double play. And Georgetown at least stays within striking distance. Here's Howard looking to give the Pirates a little bit more separation. Busy day for Howard as she takes strike one. Popped out back in the second, had the RBI double back in the fourth, and then the RBI ground out back in the fifth. And it was that fifth inning that is the difference right now. 1 in the fourth, 5 in the fifth for Seton Hall. This one out towards shallow right as well. Park coming in, giving way to the second baseman, Rebhan, who will make the catch, and there's 2 gone. 6 runs on 9 hits, 1 error for Seton Hall. The number of concern for the Pirates is that they've left 8 runners on base and are just 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That's enough to surpass the 3 runs on 3 hits and no errors for Georgetown. They've only left 4 runners on. They are 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. The first pitch to Perez is off the plate, and it's 1-0. And it could be a lot uglier of a scoreline from a Georgetown perspective. And the Pirates haven't been able to capitalize on all of their opportunities. They've been able to do so on enough of them, though. And that 5-run 5th inning is the difference as it stands. 1-0. Bounced foul to the third base side, and it is even at a ball and a strike. Lauren Kai awaiting on deck, hoping to get one more chance to hit here in the top half of the 7th inning. When Georgetown goes to the bats at the bottom of the 7th, they'll send 8, 9, and 1 in the order. They'll be chasing the game by at least 3 runs. Seton Hall trying to make it more here, and they'll extend the inning with a base hit by Perez. Her second knock of the day out towards left field, a clean hit. Kozo was able to keep in front of her. And so that will send Kai to the plate, and Seton Hall will finish out the order for the 4th time today. Quick word between the home plate umpire and the pitcher, Wismer. And Seton Hall has their lineup card back in their hands. See if Perez is going to be allowed to run for herself. She is not. There is a new pinch runner for Seton Hall. As soon as we can ascertain who that is, we'll let you know. But regardless, Kai is 1 for 3 today with a triple and a run scored back in that 5th inning. Started out the 5th inning with a triple. And the number 9 hitter in the Seton Hall order will bat with 2 outs and 1 runner on first base. Runner bluffs and pulls back. That is Miranda Aruda, the graduate student, who's in her 5th year with the Pirates. Primarily, he's been used as a pinch runner all 5 years as the Connecticut native. Now, Reiser runs upstairs. It's 1-1. Aruda, an excellent student, part of the culture that Angie Churchill and her predecessor had both brought in. Aruda, each of the past 4 years, had been named to the Big East All-Academic team. She represents a big insurance run over there at first base. She's on the move this time. Throw comes down to second base, gets away from Strittmatter, and covering was Turner to make sure that Aruda didn't go any further, but a stolen base for Miranda Aruda. And another runner in scoring position for Seton Hall to work with. 2 balls and a strike as well. Now for Kai. With Hill in the on-deck circle. 2-1 offering. 3 balls and a strike now. By the way, that Creighton Northern Colorado game did go final. Blue Jays with a 2-1 victory in Connecticut, leading DePaul 2-1 in the 7th as well. Villanova's game has gone final too. They beat Providence 8-0 in Rhode Island. 3-1 out towards left field. That'll get down in front of Kozo for a base hit. Aruda rounding third. She's coming home. Throw to the plate is not in time. RBI single for Lauren Kai, and the lead extends to 7-3. Georgetown did everything right defensively. Kozo got it in quickly to the cutoff, and the throw came in to home plate, but the speed of Aruda to run for Perez and get the stolen base and then to score from second on the single. And one more in the seventh gives Seton Hall a little bit more vital insurance. That will flip the lineup card around for Hill. Fifth plate appearance for her as that ball gets away from Pardini, and advancing up to second base is Kai. 7 runs on 11 hits now for Seton Hall. They had just 6 hits in their finale against Villanova last Sunday. The Bats have made the trip further down to D.C. Wismer's 1-0. That gets away from Pardini again, and advancing up to third goes Kai. So some small ball being employed by Seton Hall here in the top half of the seventh to get at least 1 run and maybe more. Two-0 in there for a strike, and it's 2-1. Hill is 2 for 3 today with a walk and a run scored back in that fifth. Singled in the third and the sixth as well. And the 2-1's going to get another hit and another Seton Hall run. It's an RBI to bring home Kai. And the lead extends to 8-3. Kai and Aruda both score here in the seventh, and all of a sudden a 3-run lead becomes a 5-run cushion. And Wismer is going to get a mound visit from her catcher, Pardini. A quick conversation to try to settle things down from the catcher, who gets word of encouragement from her third baseman, Campos. And Kelsey Carr will get her 5th at-bat of the ball game. Carr popped up in the first, struck out in the third, had that squeeze for an RBI in the 5th, and then a single of her own in the 6th. Not to mention the 6 innings that she's thrown in the circle. First pitch floated out of the hand of Wismer, and it's 1-0. Game that is over 2 hours and 15 minutes old at this point as we chase the rain in D.C. 2-0 now. Georgetown baseball moved their game up earlier on in the day. Softball was still cleared for their normal 3 p.m. start. And again, a reminder, 1 p.m. tomorrow, noon on Sunday to close out this 3-game set. 2-0 offering. In there for a strike. By the way, Georgetown baseball picked up a win, and a big win, against Albany today at Capital One Park. And that 11 a.m. start, 17-3 victory over the Great Danes. 2-1's in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. It was 4-2 after 1. It was 7-2 after 2. It was 13-2 after 3. And that was just about that between the Hoyas and the Great Danes. Big win over UAlbany for Georgetown baseball. They improved to 11-6 on the year. 2-2. Upstairs and a little bit outside as well. And the count is full. The car, that will send Hill off and running from first off the pitch. Georgetown baseball hasn't started their conference play yet, in case you were curious. They won't do so until the final weekend of the month of March when they host Villanova. Payoff pitch from Wismer to Carr. And it's downstairs for a walk. And Seton Hall will send the 7th batter of this top half of the 7th inning to the plate. 8 runs, a dozen hits. And the walks also starting to pile up for Georgetown. That was one of the things we highlighted at the top of the broadcast, that the Hoyas would have to limit if they were going to have success. It's now 6 free passes that the Hoyas have issued. which against a team that can hit the ball as well as Seton Hall, it's just too many to give them. Swissmer's off-speed runs upstairs. It's 1-0. Has not been able to locate that changeup as well as she would have wanted. It's 1-0 to Gilbert. Still looking for her first hit today. She does have a walk at a fielder's choice. Falling behind now, 2-0. Gilbert is one of just 2 hitters in the Georgetown order who started the game who are still looking for their first hit today. The other is Hobbs, who had that odd infield fly roll being put into effect and then the hard hit double play. Hobbs currently in the hole as it stands with Gilbert up with 2 outs. But a 2-1 count now to Gilbert, who also has struck out twice. Only Seton Hall Pirate to do that today. One pops out of the glove of Pardini, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. This was a 7th that started out innocently enough with a pair of pop-outs to the right fielder and the second baseman. And since then, 4 consecutive Pirates have reached and 2 have scored. Westmer trying to buckle down and get through the rest of the 7th unscathed. 3-1 is foul tipped into the glove of Pardini. The count runs full. That will start up both Hill and Carr from second and first, respectively. Which means that anything that gets down into the outfield for a base hit would be enough to score Hill, if it wasn't already. Payoff pitch to Gilbert. That is right at the center fielder. Turner was able to make the catch on a line and end the inning. But Seton Hall scores 2 more to extend their lead. We head to the bottom half of the 7th. Georgetown needs 5 to tie, 6 to walk it off in the nation's capital. Last ups for the Hoyas, and they need a big-time inning against Kelsey Carr. And they'll send 8-9-1 to the plate to try to start things off here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Looking to avoid falling to 1-4 in conference play, or 1-3 in conference play, rather. Seton Hall 3 outs away from getting their first conference win of 2024 and climbing a little bit closer in the conference standings. Villanova leads the way in those conference standings, as you'd expect with their 3-game sweep over Seton Hall, then the 1 win earlier today against Providence. We should be just about set for the bottom half of the 7th. They're the only team with 4 wins so far, Villanova. Creighton 2-1, Butler and DePaul all 2-1. Still obviously very early on in the mix, and everyone trying to position themselves well for the 2024 Big East Softball Championship. First offering from Carr of the 7th is on the outside edge. That is Pardini's spot in the order, but it isn't Pardini who is up to hit. It is instead Gianna Sculo, the junior from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, who is 2 for her last 9. She's quickly behind in the count, 0-2. Sculo has struggled with the strikeout so far this year. She struck out in each of the last 3 games that she's played in. Carr looking for a clean 7th to put the bow on this one. And Sculo's able to stay in the at-bat as it stays 0-2. Turner's spot in the order up next. And then the top of the order in Rebhan. And it does look as though Turner's in the on-deck circle, at least for now. 0-2 to Sculo. Upstairs. So it's Pardini's spot in the order. She was 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. So Georgetown going with something else as they just need offense here in the bottom half of the 7th. Can't think about defense until you force things that far. That ball hammered down the right field line. That's a fair ball and a base hit for Sculo to start off the bottom half of the 7th inning. Good start for Georgetown. And Claire Turner will be replaced in the order now by Joyner. Ava Joyner, the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina, has 1 hit in her collegiate career. That came on February the 23rd against Ohio. Takes the first pitch, fastball for a strike. Went 0 for 1 on Sunday against DePaul. That was the only Big East game that she's gotten into until now. But hit the cover off the ball at Millbrook High School in Raleigh, North Carolina, where she's from. Hit .476 her senior season. Count moves to 2-1. 1-1, rather, I should say. At first base, Sculo. Georgetown looks for a big late rally. Ball just off the inside edge, and now it's 2 balls and a strike. Lineup card also flips around after this, so you'll get your bigger hitters back up for Georgetown if you're able to extend the game that far. Two and 2 as that one just caught the inside corner. Rebhan awaiting on deck. Strittmatter and Campos all after her. Georgetown needs base runners, and they need them in a hurry. 2-2 from Carr. Hit to the third baseman. They'll go to second for 1 and not in time. Sculo beat it out. It was going to be an awkward play either way. And Sculo hustling all the way beat Blevins' throw. And all of a sudden, there's 2 runners on and nobody out for Georgetown in the bottom half of the 7th. Fielder's choice and reaching was Joyner. And now force a mound visit to Seton Hall will talk things over. And like I said, the top of the lineup coming up next for Georgetown, which means that the tying run is all the way in the hole now at this point. I believe a pinch runner for Georgetown is the trail runner. That was Joyner who got on base, and it's not Joyner who's standing on first. Rebhan is going to be the hitter. But it's Sculo who's on second. And it's Joyner's spot in the order at the very least who's on first. Boy, he's looking for a late rally. I think that's Claire Turner who re-entered the game to pinch run. And it was her spot in the order that Joyner took. So it's Turner who's on first and Sculo who's on second. And a 1-0 to Rebhan. Fouled away down the first base side and out of play. And a baseball player over on that baseball field caught the softball. And a play in which started with his back to the batter, which is a pretty impressive play, actually. 1-1. This one popped up in the air on the softball field. It'll be easy enough for Perez. Infield fly rule intact. And there is one away here in the 7th. That will send Strittmatter to the plate next. Strittmatter 0 for 2 today with a sacrifice bunt as well. Have to doubt that Strittmatter will bunt again unless it's for a hit. Moving the runners up 1 base each while trading that for an out doesn't really do you a ton of good, knowing that down 5, those runs are going to have to score anyways. If you're going to come back and win, as the first pitch inside to the Georgetown shortstop. Kelsey Carr trying to finish off her 7th complete game of the season. Same exact pitch, same result, and it's 2-0. 2 earned runs for Carr so far, 1 more unearned, 5 hits. She's walked 4, which is a bit of a point of concern for her. She struggled with the walks this year. She has struck out 6. The strikeout number is a tad down from last year when she had all those accolades. Count moves to 2-1. 27 strikeouts so far this year. That's averaging 4.8 strikeouts per 7. Last year she had 5.4, so not too far off the pace. But the ERA is a tad up from where it was a season ago. 2-1. 2-2, same exact pitch again on that outside corner. And now Strittmatter will have to protect the plate. Two-two offering from Carr. Lifted in the air, left field, long run for Brennan, and she won't get there as it went over the fence and out of play anyways. So we'll do the 2-2 all over again. Campos in the on-deck circle. One of the most dangerous hitters for Georgetown this year. You know, the Hoyas would love to give her an opportunity with the bases loaded. And the 2-2 is off the plate, and the count is full. Doubt that in this spot you'll see a double steal. As I was saying, the extra base doesn't really do you much good when you know that you're going to need to have the hits to bring them home anyways. So risking an extra out for that might not be worth it. Runners are not going in the 3-2. Lifted in the air, right field. That will be playable for Hill. She makes the catch. Tagging from second base is Skulo. The throw is not in time and not by much. That was a great throw from Hill. Skulo was tagging to go from second to third, and there was a close play over at third. But both runners do advance. And Georgetown is down to their last out. It'll be Campos with 2 more in scoring position with a chance to bring the deficit a little bit closer. Campos with a busy day today, 1 for 3 with an RBI. First pitch just off the plate. And it's 1-0. At second base now is Turner. At third is Skulo. 1-0. Hit right back up the middle in center field for a base hit. That'll score at least 1. Holding at third is Turner, but an RBI single for Campos, and it's 8-4. Skulo is able to score, and now the tying run for Georgetown moves into the on-deck circle. And it'll be up to Schiller to keep things alive for the Hoyas. Flew out to center field in her only other at-bat so far today. This is originally Cameron Wincher's spot in the order. That's Carr versus Schiller here in the bottom half of the 7th. First pitch that runs downstairs, and it's 1-0. Player on deck is Miller, who has had an odd day, an RBI single bookended by a pair of strikeouts. But she represents the tying run right now. And Carr asking for a towel to wipe her hands down as the rain has started to fall. Ever so briefly here at Nats Park. It's awfully humid as well, though, because of that, and temperatures in the 70s at first pitch. Although the temperatures are expected to go back down in D.C. into the 40s and 50s in the next couple of days. Welcome to the nation's capital in March. 1-0 count from Carr to Schiller. Downstairs, and it's 2-0. Miller does have 2 home runs on the season in the on-deck circle, it should be noted. And if Schiller's able to reach, she would be the tying run. In there for strike. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Abby Schiller, the junior from Carmel Hamlet, New York. 0 for 9 with 7 strikeouts so far this season. Popped up in the air, in the infield. The shortstop has it. That's Perez, and that ends the ball game. Georgetown scores 1 in the 7th and threatens for more, but Seton Hall puts the finishing touch on their first conference win of the season. Pirates improve to 7-11 on the campaign and 1-3 in the Big East. Georgetown falls to 10-14 overall and 1-3 in conference play. These two teams will do it all over again, 1 o'clock tomorrow and noon on Sunday. We hope you join us for that, but until then, for our entire crew, my name is Ben Curtis saying so long and see you real soon from Washington, D.C. One more time, your final score from Nats Academy, Seton Hall 8, Georgetown 4.